Hi, my name is Joshua Manley, and I'm going to be doing my policy speech on monopoly on college textbooks. I want to introduce the people going to be watching me do my speech.
Hi, I'm Terry Manley, and I'll be watching Josh do a speech.
Put this all away.
Hi, Lindsay, watching Josh.
Get to watch. All right, thanks. All right, so let's get started. I want to let people know that this is going to be about college textbooks and the monopoly and how expensive they are. Today's college atmosphere, there are hundreds of thousands of students in the United States alone that are spending their last nickels and dimes on a school book that they know they can't really afford. One could imagine why this is a problem in today's economy, and the average college student knows the difficulty of achieving financial aid to assist them in affording books on top of the college tuition and fees from parking to lab fees. The cost of a college and its tuition and fees quickly add up over to the allotted amount of federal aid. And on top of all the fees that come with just going to the college, the students have to worry about a home, food, and gas, and sometimes something to keep them from going insane or stressing themselves out, such as hanging out on the weekend with one of their friends once a month. All the aspects of a college life is very important for a student to become a successful at attending their school, passing their classes, and the stress levels from worrying about financial unstability can cause a lot of stress, making grades decrease. One way to help students in college with their funding is to bring down the monopoly that college books hold over a classroom. First, let's establish what a monopoly is. According to the writers of WorldNet at Princeton.edu, a monopoly is an economic standpoint in a market in which there are many buyers but only one seller. Now that we have that established, we can redefine that if a person, such as an author of a college textbook, that the person who has a monopoly can ask any price, and I may say any price with attitude, because I have personally paid over $500 for an individual textbook. In my average college textbooks per semester cost nearly $900. This can be compared with my parents who went to college in earlier years, or my older brother who is currently in college as well. In addition, charts can show that nearly half of college students pay just as much for college textbooks as they are paying per hour. The reason college students are paying so much for a book is that only one seller and there is only one book that they can have for a class. Most classes demand that you have the newest edition, which most of the time comes out yearly, so students are forced to buy a new book, costing at ridiculous prices. With the same material as the previous book with the stamped edition, for example, public speaking class required the new 2009 book. However, recommendation from my professor for public speaking to go ahead and buy the earlier edition, such as the 2007, gave me access to the same material and allowed me to take my test, my class, and my notes effectively at a much lower price. For example, I bought the book off Amazon.com for $15. It took them only 3 to 5 days to ship the book to me, a time and enough to get my test and quizzes done on time. And the newer book was over $90, so I saved $75 by buying the used book off Amazon. So why should students have to pay more money for a book when they can pay a less amount and have the same exact material? As a solution, it is possible that the professor's agendas require a more broader selection of valuable information spread across several books that share their insights and can be cross-referenced in order to create a testable information. In addition, the professor could be required to bring newfound information from the newer material and present to their students during their lectures or online access notes. On top of that, the students who really can't afford the new books could look up information on the professor's webpage, such as professors do at Owens Community College via Blackboard. This allows material to be gathered by students, whether or not they have the same book. For example, this Public Speaking 7th edition book has the exact same material as the newer version, and the professor for my public speaking class has made the test passable based on information received from both books, meaning that I have the same chance to pass my test if I did my work and my study correctly, someone does with the newer edition book. The same material is generated in both books, cross-referenced, and able to proceed throughout the class. Books are expensive, and by bringing down the cost of monopolies and by broadening the amount of books and individual books that a student can have, and by identifying this as a group, we can adjust the way we use books. Instead of just reading books for notes and lectures, we could read a broader selection of several books, only brought to us by the attention of our instructors or teachers when they find the valuable information is required to show us how to do our Pacific learning cycles. Teachers can adjust their teaching methods so that the majority of the students can afford books in addition to the students that have been willing to access online material posted by the teacher, and it takes more time and notes for the students to go in and learn. And if they really can't afford this, I'm sure that many students who cannot afford a textbook, for example, I met a student in my Spanish lecture class and he didn't have a book the entire class. However, he continually worked with the teacher. The teacher was willing to work with him, and together they brought him up to a grading state point to where he could pass the class. He did awesome on his tests by working that extra mile to achieve the same agenda as someone who did have a textbook. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need textbooks for classes. I'm saying that we need, as a group, to adjust the way we use our textbooks so that we can gain insightful information from several books over a broader agenda that can be brought to us in attention through our instructors. And this is how I plan, or hopefully I can persuade people such as yourselves into helping me bring more books to individual classrooms instead of just one. Thanks.